In the early 19th century, Lisbon was a city of extremes. Grand churches and government buildings stood beside poverty-stricken neighborhoods. Survival was not guaranteed, and desperation shaped the lives of many. Above the city rose the Águas Livres Aqueduct, a massive stone structure stretching across the valley. More than 60 meters high in places, it was both an engineering marvel and a deadly drop. At night, the walkway across the aqueduct was nearly silent. Diogo Alves targeted vulnerable men, often laborers or travelers walking alone across the aqueduct after dark. He would approach from behind. According to court testimony, he waited until his victim reached the center of the walkway, far from help, far from witnesses. Then he struck. In at least one documented case, Alves and an accomplice restrained a man, robbed him, and forced him over the stone railing. There was no struggle visible from below. By the time the body was discovered at dawn, authorities ruled it a suicide. The height ensured the outcome, the fall did the rest. The deaths were recorded as suicides. Again and again the same explanation. But the pattern was too consistent, too frequent, too precise. Men fell from the same stretch of the aqueduct, always at night, always alone. Rumors spread through Lisbon's taverns that someone was using the aqueduct as a hunting ground. At the center of those whispers was Diogo Alves. What ultimately led to Diogo Alves's arrest was not the aqueduct, it was a robbery. In 1840, Alves and his accomplices targeted the home of a respected Lisbon physician, Pedro de Andrade. The invasion turned violent. The doctor, his wife, their young son, and a servant were bound inside their own home. Court records state that the victims were strangled and beaten during the robbery. Unlike the falls from the aqueduct, this crime left undeniable evidence. This time, there would be no ruling of suicide. Authorities arrested Diogo Alves in 1841. He was tried and convicted for the murders inside the physician's home. Though legend would later attribute dozens of aqueduct deaths to him, only a limited number could be legally proven. He was sentenced to death by hanging, one of the last public executions in Portugal. After his execution, his head was preserved for scientific study, a practice common in early criminology. Today, it remains displayed in Lisbon, and the aqueduct still stands, silent.